Okay, we need to get started. 2/3 of you are here, I guess. Tasha, I haven't heard from her. Miss Marcus had a shoulder operation. Carl Cooper, when they come in, and went to full class code. Let's see.
RJ.
Right. I want to make sure I didn't cut two absent. Make sure I count Jeffrey absent. All right. Anyhow, corporations, folks, it's not an easy chapter. It's totally new. It stands alone. Chapter 12 don't help you. Chapter 11 don't help you. Journal entries, debits, and credits may help you. What you learned about a balance sheet helps you. The income statement stays the same. And what is a couple characteristics of corporations?
They can be sued.
They can be sued like a person, yes. They're a legal entity.
That's about all I can think of right off of my head.
Anybody else?
File tax returns.
What?
They must file tax
They have to
returns.
file their own taxes, yes. A proprietor or a partner, that goes on to their own personal return. Anything else?
They sell their ownership, hold stock.
The what?
Sell ownership, hold stock.
All right, ownership is shares of stock. Stockholders have a right to vote. Look how many classes of stock are there.
Good question.
That's good question. Good answer somewhere. Anybody, what's two classes of stock?
Common and preferred.
Common and preferred. And sometimes we have common stock that has no stated value, I suppose. But basically you have two classes. Which one votes?
Preferred.
No, number one, don't vote.
Oh.
Common stockholders vote. Now which one has preference when it comes to dividends? Preferred. And what does cumulative mean?
Pay off dividends at your,
Pay dividends every year. When they're in arrears, you have to get caught up. If you owe 10,000 this year and only pay 5, then you gotta pay that 5 next year plus 10 next year. That's cumulative preferred stock when we pay dividends. All right, Anthony, if you're gonna buy some stock from a corporation, what will that corporation debit? You're gonna buy $1,000 worth of stock, what do they debit? Anybody help, what will they debit?
Common stock, issue preferred stock.
The what?
Common stock and issue preferred stock.
Well, they're gonna do something with common stock, but if they sell you common stock for cash for $1,000, what do they debit? Cash for $1,000 is what they debit. And they credit to common stock. Same thing if you sell preferred stock, you debit cash and credit preferred stock. But what if I sell common stock for a premium? Its par value is 10, we sell it for 12. Where do we put that $2?
Paid in capital excess of
Par.
par.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, now you may have that paid in capital in excess of stated value. You may have that paid in capital from the sale of treasury stock. So what is treasury stock? A company buys back their own stock. And what do they debit when they buy back their own stock? Treasury stock and credit cash. And if you sell it for more than you paid for it, it's paid in capital in excess of purchase price. All right, now we have the balance sheet, assets and equal liabilities plus stockholders' equity. What goes first on the stockholders' equity? Preferred stock. Second is common stock. Third generally is paid in capital. Fourth is retained earnings. And if you have treasury stock, you have to subtract that out. It's usually that simple. Now you can make that longer because they gave you 2 illustrations. Okay, so we need to practice. And if you don't practice this and work it on Cengage, you will be hurting. You will not do well on the test. All right, I gave you a bunch of homework, and I believe that was exercise what? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Did I give you 8 and 10? Does anybody have those down? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10. All right. So let's look at number 2. We're on page 659. All right. Lightfoot, a software developing firm, has stock outstanding as follows: 40,000 shares of Kim's Preferred 1%, $125 par, and 100,000 shares of 150 par common. During its first year of operations, the following amounts were distributed as dividends. I got 36, 58, 75, 124. Now let me put that one on Notepad and just not show you the solution right now. All right. Now, how much are we giving out in year 1, 2, 3, and 4? How much dividend are we going to give out?
36.
All right, 36 and
58.
58 and 75.
Yep.
And
32.
how much? 130.
124.
34? 24?
24. 20.
I'll get it in a minute. Can't hear today. All right, what we're going to do is divide that with preferred stock and common stock. Always put another column over here if we've got anything in arrears. Now the main key is to get your par value of the preferred stock, and it's 40,000 shares times $125. Well, what is 40,000 times $125? What does that give me? Is it $500,000? But somebody multiply it and make sure. What is it? Is it 5 million? 5 million? All right, we get a 1% dividend on that 5 million. Now, if you multiply 5 million by 1%, what you got?
$50,000.
No way. 1% of
I thought you said 5.
1% of 5 million.
50,000.
It's gonna be 50,000, right? Okay, now that gets us started. We're guaranteeing 50,000 every year. So preferred gets everything in the first year. Common gets nothing. And there's how much in arrears? How much is in arrears in year 1? 14. All right. Now, 14 plus 50 is how much? 60 what? We gotta pay the 50 plus the 14. That's 64. Well, we've only got 58 to give out. Preferred gets it all, common gets nothing. All right, how much is in arrears though? We owed 64, we paid 58, so we got 6 in arrears. All right, how much is 6 plus 50? All right, common finally gets something. How much? Is that 19? All right, and there's nothing in arrears. So we're finally caught up with arrears. So how much does preferred get in year 4? 50. And common gets 74. And there's nothing in arrears. Okay, now you may be asked how much per share. First off, how many shares preferred are there? 40?
40,000.
divide 40 into 36, how much is that per share?
90 cents.
And 40 into 58,
$1.45.
and 40 into 56, and then down here would be
$1.25.
$1.25 is what's going to you. Now, if you add those four together and divide by 4, you're going to get $1.25, because that's what preferred gets, $1.25 every year, sooner or later. Now, over here, how many common shares of stock are there?
100,000.
100,000 to 19 is what, 19 cents?
Yep.
74 cents? Okay, so that is cumulative preferred stock and how to calculate the dividends. So let me bring that up and we'll look at it from the author's perspective. Looks like these are messed up. No, here it is. Let's see. I don't know if they worked like I did or not, but we gotta get the same answers. It's messed up. Well, there's first year, second year, third year. It's just messed up. But you see, the numbers we calculated and the numbers Fraser gave me are here. So anyhow, good thing I did put it somewhere else. Number 3, entries for issue and stock. Journalize the entry for October 31st and November 19th. Because this contract issued for cash 400,000 shares of $10 par common at 18. Now, if it's $10 par and you issue it for 18, there's an $8 premium. Where do we put that $8 premium? Anybody, what will this first entry be? Debit cash for how much?
7,200,000.
1,700,000. That sounds like a
7,200,000.
oh. All right, that sounded like a funny number, didn't it? All right, 7,200,000 is cash. Now the par is $10, 4 million. The premium is $8, 3,200, 3,200,000. Folks, you're gonna make these entries. You'll have them on the test. All right, another entry then on November. What did we issue on November? Issued cash 50,000 shares and preferred at $80. Do you have the same entry for preferred?
Yep.
You do, don't you? I mean, you have the same debits and credits. Okay, cash, 50,000 shares times 80. Credit preferred, 50,000 times 75. Paid in capital excess of par preferred. I don't know why they didn't just put it here, but how much is that? 250,000?
Mhm.
Okay. These are generic entries, folks. We must get these in this chapter. You only have one good chapter on corporations, issue and stock. The next chapter will be on bonds. Okay, now, the bottom of page 59 is entries for issuing no par stock. Come in, Carl. You've already earned your bonus for the next test. better late than never, Carl. I have had professors, if class started at 9:30, they locked the door at 9:32. They would lock it. Well, I think that's ridiculous. If you get here late, at least you're here. All right. Entries for issuing no par stock. On January, this carpet wholesaler, now they do have a stated value of 25 cents a share, but they sell it for $1.20. So in August, they issued 10,000 shares of preferred stock, $15 par at $21. Journalized the entry for August 12th and the 3rd. Well, how about that first entry? 1 million shares. You sold it for $1.20. How much is a million times $1.20? All right, that's what you debit cash for. 1,200,000. Now, the par value is only how much a share?
Yeah, 25 cents.
Well, has a stated value of 25 cents. And that will be 25 cents times a million. The difference is paid in capital. You'll get used to paid in capital. Now we're going to sell preferred stock, and it should be just like the entry above there on November the 19th. We debit cash, we credit preferred stock, and we credit paid in capital in excess of par 60,000. So preferred stock did not change from one exercise to the next. The stock did change because one had a stated value and one had a par value, but you made the same entry. Same entry. Change a couple of words. In excess of par, in excess of stated value. Couple of words is all you change. Any questions? All right, that's 3 important little exercises. Dividends, issuing common, par or stated, and issuing preferred. Issuing stock for assets other than cash. Well, we're going to get land in exchange for stock. Now, 30,000 shares of stock, par value is 80, but the common stock is valued at 112. So 112 times 30,000 is how much cash? I mean, how much? All right, you have to debit land for that amount. That's 50,000 shares times 112. Debit land, not cash. Then you credit common stock for the par, $80. And here we had a $32 premium paid in capital in excess of par. That's not hard either. We could take machinery, we could take land, we could take a truck, whatever, and give common stock for it. We could get a lawyer's service, and we would debit legal fees and credit common stock. We'd give him common stock for legal fees. Or organizational costs. From there, we skipped other stock transactions and issuing stock. Well, we get down to number 8. All right, now exercise 8. How many of you have that written down? All right, we have one person. So for exercise 8, let me give you 5 minutes, now that you've seen some entries, to see if you can do some entries. Take exercise 8 and practice. Carl, what's his name on the back? It looks like Superman has the D. The D covered up, D-O-R-K-E-Y. York.
You said,
But Superman is a D, it's a sword.
yeah, you,
Or if you want me to say he's not coming, we gotta do that.
Oh, okay. Snell started baseball, you said.
That's right, Nancy has got it. We just practiced at 7 this morning.
Where's that?
Yeah. But we have a turf room too, where we have cages and stuff.
Okay.
But if you want to do that.
How's that going to get out? 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock?
We started about 6:50, 7 o'clock, and then it lasts about, between 45 minutes to an hour and a half.
That's early.
And then we've got practice again at 1. Yeah.
How hard is it playing baseball? You could get out at 6 o'clock, could
nah, I'd be up.
It's a little bit more serious when we're laid there.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it is.
Oh, yeah.
Take a minute, folks, and jot these down. Aim to help anybody who wants help. Yeah, that's just anybody sitting behind you.
Anybody who can pay.
Tony, was playing basketball. You play basketball? I had, one last night, the time we had to leave for a game last night. Kind of picture.
It's, a forward, just me and my friend. It's me and my friend.
Number one, we issued 800,000 shares of common stock at par. Now that's about as easy as you can get. How about that one, Brooke? Entry one. Debit what? And credit what? Right. That's all you have to do. And that's 2,800,000. That's 400,000 times $7. That's easy generic entry. Then we issued 1,000 common stock at par to an attorney in payment of legal fees for organizing the corporation. Amy, you would put down?
Debit organizational expenses for $7,000, credit common stock for $7,000.
All right. And possibly some companies would want to debit just legal fees or something like that. Legal fees expense. But organizational costs, you can amortize it. 7, we issued 80,000 shares of common stock in exchange for land, building, and equipment with a fair price $250, $400, and $700 respectively. All right, 80,000 shares of stock. What was the Fraser? What was the 80,000 times what? $7 is how much?
560,000.
All right, now what'd you debit?
Land, buildings, and equipment.
All right, for whatever they said.
Yeah.
Common stock 560. Well, those don't match, do they?
No, you have to excess part common stock.
All right, 160,000.
Yeah.
Okay, so it can be land, it can be building, it can be equipment, it can be a truck. Those are generic entries again. We issued 25,000 shares of preferred stock at $44. Devon? Just debit what?
You cash
And credit what?
fruit stock.
Okay, now folks, oh, you got a premium there too, didn't you?
Yeah, the prepaid capital that's the same part.
All right, are you starting to get the hang of journal entries for stock? Okay, unless you're totally dead, you have to learn a couple of entries. Okay. All right. Have to drill it into you. Drill, drill, drill. Okay, now we're gonna start drilling something else. Let's go down and look at number 13. I'm gonna look at that one with you. Now, if we split common stock 2 for 1, where we used to par value from 80 to 40, and after split there was 150,000 common shares. There must have been 75 before. No entry is required for a stock split. You might make a memo entry, that would be all. However, we declared semi-annual dividends of 75 cents a share on 18,000 shares of preferred stock. And all right, somebody multiply 75 cents times 18,000 and 28 cents times 150,000. Now that's your dividend. Now in a generic entry, what would we debit for those dividends that we declared? Debit what?
Cash dividends,
Right, and credit?
dividends payable.
Right, preferred and common. That's number what, 13? All right, there's your first 2 entries. Now, you could have separated these had you wanted to. Cash dividends payable preferred, cash dividends payable common. A lot of books does separate it. But here it's one combination, debit cash dividends and credit cash dividends payable. Now when we pay the dividends, that's an easy entry. The date of payment is debit your payable and credit your cash. A payable is just another liability until you pay it. and another cash dividends payable, but we're given a different amount per share this time, 75 cents on common, 14 cents on, I guess that's the common, 75 on preferred. But anyway, it's still debit, cash dividends, and credit cash dividends payable. Some books debit retained earnings, they take it straight out of retained earnings. Now, let's look at this one real quick. I want you to read that. Read number 31. Do a couple of calculations. Now, this stock dividend can be tricky. We'll look at it and we'll have to practice it. We're given a 5% dividend on 150,000 shares. All right, what is 5% of 150,000?
390,000.
No, 5% of 150,000.
7,500.
All right, 7,500 shares. Now multiply that by $52 a share. What's that give you?
390.
All right, we got 390. Okay, but the par value of that 7,500 shares, you had to find that, is $40. And that is common stock distributable. And then credit paid in capital for 90. And then when we issue that stock, all right, we're paying our dividends first, cash, and then we're distributing our stock dividends. We credit common stock for the 300,000 stock dividends distributable. Okay, we've looked at 3 or 4 concepts this morning in a half an hour. We looked at cumulative preferred stock dividends, dividends in arrears. We looked at generic entries for stated value stock, par value stock, and preferred stock. That was 2. Then we looked at cash dividends in this little exercise. That's 3. And we had to look at the stock dividend. That's 4 concepts already this morning. And you might not be good at the later 2, but we'll work on them. Let's go to exercise 15. Exercise 15. Now this is a 5th concept, treasury stock. All right, I want y'all to take about 5 minutes and jot down 1 or 2 entries or however far you can get with that one. Read it, think about it.
What question did you say again?
Number 15, page 662. Okay, let's see what you've done to that one. Now, treasury stock, journalized the transaction of January 31st, 14th, and 23. Now, how much did you pay for that treasury stock? Okay, Carl, have you got an entry for that first one?
Yeah.
Debit what?
Treasury stock,
And credit what?
cash,
How much?
$2,550,000.
Did you have 2,550,000? Okay. RJ, how about that second date on the 14th when we sold some of it? How much cash did you get?
$1,440,000.
And your credit treasury stock for how much?
$1,224,000.
All right, and the difference you credit to what?
The difference?
Yeah.
Stock.
Well, now let's see. Let me see the difference here. All right, you sold it for $60 a share. You paid 51, so you made a $9 profit, which is $9 times 24,000 or 216. So you can only credit your stock for 51 a share. That's what you paid for it. That's 1,224,000. Then credit paid in capital for the 216. And how about the last date? Anybody? Debit what? What would you debit? And what else would you debit? Do you have another debit? Well, I guess you don't. You sold it for a gain too, didn't you? Okay, you paid 51, you sold it 56. You had a gain. So you had treasury stock 918, paid in capital, be the difference, wouldn't it? Oh, why that's not showing up. What is that paid in capital here, folks? How much is that? 90. All right. Debits have to equal credits, and of course we have it here, but now, if you sold it for a loss, if you sold it for $40, and you've already got money in paid in capital, then you can debit paid in capital. But if you haven't already sold some for a gain, then you'd have to debit retained earnings for a loss. And your book's not showing you that. You'd have to debit retained earnings. B part of this, 306, C part, 408. I'm not going to take time to read them. You can see what they are. I want to get down to the generic entries for treasury stock. All right. I want to show you exercise 21. Folks, here's the stockholders' equity section. You list preferred first, right? Now, you can list paid in capital on preferred separate, and you can list paid in capital on common separate, or you can combine them. But we have retained earnings, and then we deduct out treasury stock. Now, the reason I'm showing you this problem, I'm going to leave it up there, and you're going to do problem 19 in class right now. We're going to practice the stockholders' equity section. Amy came in here worried about this chapter. I hope she gets a little more relaxed about it.
I worry about this whole class.
75. Just use this one up here as a map. The number 19, that's on page 663. I got a final answer yet? Final answer?
$89,100,000.
All right, just wanted you to get practice with this. Put down your preferred stock first. Excess. Common stock second. Excess. Paid in capital from treasury stock. That's excess also. Retained earnings gives you a total. And if you own treasury stock, you gotta subtract it out. 89,100,000. Hope most of you got it, or you got close, or you almost got finished. So you need to know that. You'll probably have one on the next table. So let's don't make this chapter hard. Does anybody remember the formula for EPS the other day? EPS, this won't give me a pen. EPS is earnings per share. What do you do? You take net income minus preferred dividends over common stock. Net income minus preferred dividends over common stock. Now let's see if we can apply that on page 664. Let's look down at number 24. This gas company. Now the net income for year one is 828. For dividends is 14. All right. Take the 828 minus 14. Take the 828 minus 14 and divide it by 444. How much is that?
$1.83.
Dollar what?
83.
Okay, now guys, calculate year 2, and ladies, calculate year 3. EPS. All right, should have it. What'd you get, guys, for number 2?
307.
30 what?
7.
307. Ladies, number 3, year 3. $3 and what? That one there on year 1, 444 shares of stock outstanding. It reminds me of, I read on Epitaph one time. Here lies Lester Moore, shot with a 44, no less, no more. Of course, that was at Ripley's, believe it or not, but it's still on a tombstone. All right, let's look at this one and see. It's easy. See if you got it. All right, did you get $1.81? All right, and did you get 307, guys? And what's the other year? $1.83. We got $1.83, didn't we? Okay, that's EPS, earnings per share. I've had a couple of pharmacists and even a doctor one time to take accounting because they wanted to know these chapters on corporation. They were invested. They wanted to invest. They wanted to know what EPS meant and what dividends per share meant, and yield, and some of these ratios we'll get later because they were invested. All right, we've wrapped up some of the important exercises. Now, Cengage, how far are you on this chapter, Amy?
I worked on it, but I'm not done with it.
Is anybody over 50% on chapter 13? Nobody yet? Try to get there. Some of these problems are the same as you'll have on Cengage, but we'll look at problem 13.1. If you have time to work it, please do so. On dividends again, 13.1, and then we'll look at 13.3a, stock transactions. Now we're going to finish this chapter up on Thursday. Hopefully you're getting a handle on it. Now we're going to move on into long-term liabilities. I'm going to take 10 minutes and talk about bonds. All right, I'm going to talk about chapter 14 a little bit. Now, chapter 14 is still, if I can get my notepad. I just want to get a couple of concepts on this chapter today. Now, we finance with common stock. And preferred stock, chapter 13. For chapter 14, we're going to finance with bonds. Now, common stock is equity, and bonds is debt. So we're going to finance either with equity or debt. These two chapters tell you how to finance a corporation. Now, when we're dealing with bonds, now if we sell $1 million worth of bonds, with debit cash and credit bonds payable. It's a liability. It's a long-term liability. Now, bonds are quoted in the face of 1,000. All right. If I sold, now let me see who heard that. if I sold 50 bonds, how much do I debit cash for? How much did I say each bond face value is?
50,000.
All right, but I sold 50 bonds, 50,000. All right, now these are corporate bonds. They're quoted in 1,000. They are not government bonds, Series E, Series H, or any other series. They are corporate bonds. Now you can find bond ratings in Moody's, Standard & Poor's. Now, if it were a AAA bond, you'll most definitely get your money back plus interest. Even if it's down to a triple B bond, or single A, double A, triple A, single B. And when you get down to a D bond, you're going to get big money if that company makes it. But they may go bankrupt and you lose your money. Now, bonds on Wall Street are quoted at 97, 99, 102, 96 and a half, 92 and a fourth, and you may even see an 8. Now, this is $1,000, right? So if a bond is quoted at 97, that simply means 97% of 1,000. What is 97% of 1,000? Don't need a calculator. Right. All right. What is 99? If bonds were quoted at 99, that'd be 990. You have a $10 discount. We'll deal with that discount later. Bonds quoted at 102 are how much? $1,020. That's the same as 102%. That's a premium. We'll deal with that later. Now, what if bonds are quoted at 96 and a half? How much money do I get out of that bond? Somebody tell me. Come on, the bond, what is a half? What is a half? A half is usually what? 1.5. 965. 965, that's the same as decimal 9 is 6.5%. 96.5 is decimal 96.5%. Multiply it by 1,000, you get 965. Okay, how about 92 and a fourth? All right, this is 9225. But how much am I going to sell this bond for if it's 92 and a fourth? No, we don't round
No,
off.
we don't, okay.
$922.50. All right, so that's some odds and ends in this chapter on bonds. A bond is called an indenture. An indenture is a contract. A bond is a contract. It is a long-term liability. On your balance sheet, you got a short-term liability and a long-term liability. This is long-term. And we'll call it a day at that. We'll deal with this chapter more on Thursday. Please read it. Do some homework, do some sim games. Don't get frustrated, pull your hair out.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. On those problems that we were doing for homework, right? So is the first year automatically going to be the number that they give you for the first year in the book? Like, on the problem, it says like the first year in was 36,000. And that's automatically going to be the first number, and it asks for that on the
Not in zero. We may get 50.
Well,
You pay out dividends whatever you want.
that's why I got aggravated with teenagers, because the very first problem I have done for
what you're dealing with, I'm saying, it don't matter what they're gonna give out that year.
Okay.
Because they have a problem themselves.
Well, I mean,
I just want to make sure that you know the RJ.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
How about add that truck around?
Yeah, I'll do that. I want my extra credit.
All right.
Get his.
Okay.
okay, cause that's what confused me. I did that very first problem on P-Gage 400 times, I'm telling you. And I have watched Show Me over and over and over, and every time it keeps telling me the answer's
When
wrong.
you print that problem out,
I can't.
print it out right in place.
And then I say ugly words,
No, don't do that.
and then I aggressively hit the backspace on my laptop because the answer's wrong.
Just print it out right in place. You're looking at something simple.
It probably is something simple that I'm not getting it.
It is. I guess I better stop recording too. I finally heard from Jessica, she's had the flu.
You know, I was thinking coming down the road today, I was floating down the mountain, that I was going to message her and ask her if she's okay, because I hadn't heard from her. And every class I have this semester,